If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Coming up on the program, it's time for us to start our brassicas indoors. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored by the following.
It all starts in the soil. Since 1925, Kellogg Garden Organics has been dedicated to providing you and your family organic products that have helped your gardens grow. Our organic soils and fertilizers can now be found at the Home Depot.
MIgardener.com with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. MIgardener.com. HappyLeafLED.com, a commercial-grade grow light with a home gardener's affordability. All indoors, no fans, no motors, simply plug in and grow. Great for seed starting to lettuce to full-grown tomatoes. HappyLeafLED.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Today we're going to start our brassicas indoors. Now, brassicas is a category of vegetables which those fall under that category are Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, cabbage, kale, broccoli, and a few other ones. But we're going to start cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and kale indoors. You want to do this about 6-8 weeks before your last average frost date, right in that area. To find your last average frost date for your particular growing area, you can go to your favorite search engine and type in last average frost date and insert your zip code there, or you can call your local university extension office and they can provide you that information as well. We're out of that category that we're starting here, those that are listed, we're not growing broccoli or cauliflower, because simply we have not been able to do that successfully. We get the plants to grow, plant them, but they never come to a mature state. So we have decided that we'll just buy that from the local farmer's market for about $1 a head and use that space wisely with other vegetables. Now we're going to start these in root maker cell trays. You don't have to do this, but we've chose to do it this way. Now we have done peppers. If you followed us in previous episodes, we've started about 8 peppers per party cup or per container, and then once they reach a mature state, then I will transplant them over into a larger root maker cell tray. With the brassicas, we do it a little different, and also we'll do this method the same with the romaine lettuce that we'll plant in a future episode. We've chosen to do it this way because these are going to stay in the cell a little shorter time, about 8-10 weeks. Then we're going to move them out, and then each one of these cells, it's just easier for our experience to pop them out, plant them, rather than trying to move them around to from cups to trays. So it's your preference. If you're unfamiliar with the root maker tray they are molded trays, and you can get several different sizes. This here is a 60. The one we're using for the brassicas are 32. They've got air pockets, holes punched in it strategically, and where the roots hit those air pockets, they will stop growing in that direction and then shoot off additional root fibers to grow in different directions, and a healthier root system is a healthier plant that produces better. So we can go that route. Now with planting brassicas, again, you can do this in a variety of different ways. We are using all of our seeds from MIgardener.com. They have 450 varieties of flowers, vegetables, and herbs. Great selection, even some rare ones here. We're a scarlet kale. That's a purple kale that we're going to be planting. So we can start these. We're going to do 2 seeds per cell. 32 cells here, 64 plants. You can just do 1. And I recommend 2 for the very fact that not every seed that you plant, no matter what seed source you get them from, is going to germinate. So by putting 2 in there, you've increased your chances by 100% that you're going to have at least something in that cell that's germinate. Now, if both seeds germinate, you can do one of 2 things. You can simply cut the one that looks the weakest and leave the other one alone. You don't want to pull it out because that will disturb the roots of the adjacent plant. Or you can gently loosen the soil up around both of them, remove one and put it in another tray and double what you've got. Totally up to you, whatever you feel is the easiest to do that. We're filling all of our trays with Kellogg Garden Product potting mix. They have a variety of different mixes that are available at your local Home Depot. You can go online to your local Home Depot and they will list the quantities that are available at your store. And as more products are brought in throughout the growing season for your particular job, you can find what's available there. This is a very good mix for seed starting. It does have some fertilizer in it. It has horticultural grade perlite. That is the white particles you see in here that will add aeration as well as water retention. You do want that fertilizer in a potting mix or a starter mix simply because you need those plants, whether they're sitting here for 6 weeks or peppers for 10 to 12 weeks, you need something for that plant to feed off of. If you do not have a slow release fertilizer or a fertilizer like the Kellogg Garden products contain, you're going to have to supplement it with something, whether that's an organic or inorganic liquid fertilizer. So keep that in mind. And we are not starting them in the expandable peat pellets because of that. And we've talked about that on a previous episode, and let's go to that and I'll explain it, the reasons why we choose not to use the expandable peat pellets. Another method of starting seeds, and that is in the expandable peat pellets. These are fine. There's two downsides to this particular method. And the one is these are peat pellets. They contain no nutrient value. That means after 2-3 weeks of the plant growing, any type of plant, you see the plant kind of deteriorate a little bit, kind of get a little sad looking. That is because by nature the plant has already used up all the energy in the seed coating that was put there in order to get that seed to germinate. At that point, that plant believes or is designed to start pulling nutrients from the soil that it's planted in. When there's no nutrients to pull from, all it is getting is the water that you're feeding it. So you would have to supplement some type of compost tea, organic or inorganic liquid fertilizer. And if you go a liquid fertilizer, go quarter strength so you're not burning the plant because you're seeing a downturn in the plant already because of the lack of nutrient. By over-fertilizing, you'll see a downturn by over-fertilizing, and you'll see some signs to where you think you're not fertilizing it enough, and you're actually killing the plant that way. The other downturn is when you plant these, this netting, you want to remove the netting because it doesn't biodegrade as it's instructed that it's supposed to do. We still find netting 3-4 years following the plant being planted, and also it does restrict the roots with the netting. So that's another option if you want to go that way. Now also with the Kellogg Garden products, there are these aged wood fines in the product that does also hold retention of water as well as release nutrients as they break down throughout the process of the growing season. So how do we plant these? Again, we're going to do 2 per cell. You want to label these. We're just using window blind markers here, the plastic ones. So what we have Brussels sprouts to start with. We've got Long Island Brussels sprouts. And you want to label these. Again, stressing label these. When we're planting all of these brassicas, they're under the family of brassicas because as they grow, until they get to a certain stage, which is getting later in the growing season, you're not going to know what you have unless you've labeled it. All the cabbages, kales, broccolis, cauliflowers, they all look the same until they begin to get later on in their growth cycle. So you just don't want to play guess what I have and then be disappointed. We had that happen a couple of years ago where when we were trying to attempt to grow broccoli, and we thought we had Brussels sprouts. So we planted a whole bunch of seeds. Somehow they got crossed, and we planted 12 what we thought was Brussels sprout plants, and we turned out to find at the end of the season they were broccoli plants that we couldn't get to mature to the head state. So keep that in mind. So these are very small seeds. You can see they're very small seeds, and all of these seeds look the same. So all we're going to do is just make a little dent in the soil, a little indentation, quarter. If you get it a little deeper than that, it's not a big deal. They will grow. And we're just going to pinch, the goal is about 2 per cell. And if your potting mix is a little dry, if you feel it's a little dry upon using it, can moisten it by just putting it in a tub and adding water to it to getting it to a damp like stage. And what I mean damp is you can hold it in your hand, but then when you release it, it breaks apart. That's what you're wanting, that damp sponge consistency. Again, too much water, these seeds can rot, and not enough, they're not going to germinate. So I'm going to get the rest of these planted, and then we will talk about what we're going to do after about light, so we can get these things as healthy as they possibly can be. So I got tray 1 done here, and I'm filling this second tray here, the second root maker tray. Now the key, whenever you're filling it with whatever potting mix or soil starting mix you're using, is you want to press down to get these cells tight. Now you don't want to cram them down so the roots can't even penetrate, but you want to get all that air pockets out for 2 reasons. One, with the root maker tray, you want to compress and fill these cells completely up, so as the roots hit the air pockets, they can do the correct nature's thing by air pruning the roots. Secondly, whether you're using the root maker tray or just a normal tray, you want to get those air pockets out so when you bottom water, the water will actually wick up through the whole cell. If you have a big air pocket, it's not going to obviously jump through air to hydrate the upper portions of the cell. So that's important as well to do that. And then we just level it off, make sure, and if we need to add more, we will add more. But I think we're pretty close. I'll get this tray started, and then I'll get that planted, and then we'll talk about the importance of using cinnamon on your brassicas to prevent a very important, well, not important, very bad disease from happening. So I've got both trays of brassicas planted. Now, what a lot of people experience or have experienced is a disease called damping off. This, and you may have had this and you didn't even know what it was. This occurs when the seedlings get 1 to 3 inches tall and they just kind of like you mowed them off with the scissors. They just all fell over. This occurs when conditions are extremely damp or extremely wet. You may have overwatered it, not intentionally, but you're adding water to the mix and trying to get as much water to them and make sure they're happy. This is a disease that just at the soil level is where it basically rots the plant off. Now you can do 2 things to help discourage this from occurring. 1, water less. 2, you can also apply cinnamon to the surface of your grow area. Now cinnamon has antifungal properties, and this will actually help in 2 situations in your grow room. But first we just want to take, not like just a coating, not overwhelming, not tonnage on it, just cover your top of the soil there, the potting mix, as just after you plant. Now if you bottom water, you don't have to worry about reapplying this. If you do top water, you might have to reapply. Bottom watering is when you fill the tray in which your seedlings are setting in and allowing the water to naturally wick up the soil, and that actually has a more balanced and even distribution of the water in the cell, rather than watering from the top where you can disrupt the seeds and actually cause problems in that instance. So you got to figure out what works best for you. So this will help with damping off. The second thing this actually helps with is if you have experienced fungal gnats or soil gnats in your grow area. A lot of soil has it. Even some potting mixes have it. You can do 2 things. 1, you can bake your soil and then use it. Or 2, you can apply cinnamon to it. Again, it has that antifungal properties. Soil gnats or fungal gnats feed off the top of the soil. They actually lay their eggs there, and because of the excessiveness of dampness or the moisture there. 1, they don't like the smell of cinnamon, and 2, it will reduce the fungal properties that exist that you may not see on the top of your soil and your seed starting mix. So keep that in mind. So now that we've got all this done, let's talk about light requirements for your brassicas. 1, you can just use a south-facing window, or we've used a west-facing window for many years. You just have to rotate the seeds. Brassicas kind of fall in what we've experienced is the problem of legginess more than any other vegetable that we grow. Legginess is the extensional growth, excessive growth, speediness growth of the growth stalk reaching for light, and they get very spindly, and eventually if they don't get adequate light, they're going to fall over, and there's no recouping or reversing of this procedure. So what we have found to work best is the Happy Leaf LED grow lights. So we have our Happy Leaf LED grow light set up, and the advantage to this is we've got the height, 6-7 inches above the plants, and the intensity of the LED grow lights will cover 3 trays, and that we have found works great with the brassicas not having that legginess issue. We've grown brassicas with the traditional tube lights where you have to get like 1 inch above the plant. We still experience the legginess because of the light of the tube is not intense enough to give adequate light to the plant, the brassicas in which we are trying to start. So we've got the onions looking good here, we've got peppers that are beginning to germinate, and then we've got our brassicas here. Now, Happy Leaf has a coupon code, if you're interested, WVG at checkout, and that will save you 5% on orders over $50. These are made in America. Vic, who's the owner, actually is a designer and an engineer and understands the lights and the intensity and the waves and all that, and he developed these over the last several years. So they've got several different sizes available, but we have found to be a phenomenal light system to work with. So, got them underneath the Happy Leaf LED grow lights. These will take 5 to 14 days to germinate based on your environment in your grow room. If you're in an unclimatized, let's say, greenhouse or basement, you're going to probably have to have some supplemental heat on the roots or the soil to keep them warm. If you are in a regular household or in a side bedroom next to a radiator here, we don't have to have it because the ambient temperature is between 68 and 72 degrees on a daily basis. So the soil will be perfectly fine for seed germination. Always keep them watered as well. So thanks for joining me. Join me again next time for more seed starting and organic gardening. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.